was steady and that there were very few vibrations of any sort. There's a picture of the INSAT actually being deployed from the spacecraft. You can see that the deploy went very smoothly. At the moment of deploy, there were very few vibrations of any sort. Here's a picture of the INSAT actually being deployed from the spacecraft. You can see that the deploy went very smoothly.
On the back of his shirt a couple of upticks on either side where you would expect wires to come in on either side of that harness. They're often portraying that this is live. Of course, these things are fully choreographed and edited in advance to make sure that there's nothing too obvious.
We all know NASA uses wires, and sometimes they'll catch them like this here. The guy pulled on his wire. However, some days when you're filming live, things just don't work out. And it becomes so blatantly obvious, it's ridiculous. So in this clip, they're talking live feed, and we have a astronaut go by us in the background, obviously trying to give it a more realistic, spacey, station busy effect. And so we see the guy come flying along in a harness on his wires. Pretty amazing.
8.5 G's, you're really being pushed into the seat, and all of a sudden it stops. You're floating. It's a lot of fun.
The crew went through the preparation process. They reported we were ready. I had a tracking station make sure that all of the safety criteria had been met, and this was now okay to open up the hatch.
Okay, we're giving you a go for your EVA at this time.
Okay.
Roger, flight, let's go. Okay.
After we got the hatch open, Ed stood up in the seat and got ready to go, and we cleared him to go, and then he took and pushed off from the seat.
Okay, my feet are out. I think I'm dragging a little bit, so I don't want to fire the gun yet. Okay, I'm separating from the spacecraft.
Ed White is flying at 17,000 miles per hour, 200 miles above the Earth.
Okay, I'm out.
If the spacesuit fails, the difference in pressure will kill him instantly. If the lifeline fails, he'll literally be lost in space.
only thing to do would be to disconnect them and let them float around out there. I mean, it was, you know, these are things that's in everybody's mind. We don't have a plan. We don't have a checklist on how you kill your best friend.
As White floats in space, a glove drifts out of the capsule.
Looks like a thermal glove, Jim.
I don't even know whose glove it was. I don't know whether it was his or mine.
I feel like $1 million.
Today, those pictures are a classic. They're still overpowering today to realize, number one, it's been done, and that we did it. It blew me away.
This is the greatest experience. It's just tremendous.
Here's where I think the animators got carried away with creative license. The astronauts' helmets don't swivel. They're fixed to an airtight ring base, which is sewn to nearly 1/4 of an inch of multiply fabric, nylon, and mylar. Once pressurized, it becomes very stiff.
Bubbles can often be seen during spacewalks. It's not just in 1 or 2 spacewalks, these are only a few examples. These are official spacewalks, not training videos. You can see our planet in the background.
The International Space Station is a hoax. It's faked in the hull of an airplane performing parabolic flight in order to simulate zero gravity. All manned space travel is fake. No one has even been in low Earth orbit. Spacewalks are faked in a float tank. That's why a gallon of water leaked into the guy's spacesuit and he literally almost drowned in space a few months ago. And there's a bubble coming up showing the fakery. Recently there was a National Geographic broadcast, supposedly from space, and here's Soledad O'Brien as she flicks to the people in the International Space Station. Now have a look at their feet. There's stabilization bars, blue stabilization bars. The guy in the blue on the right, he's twisting slightly to the right and he lifts up his left knee in order to counteract that rotation. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So he lifts up his left leg in order to counterbalance the rotation that comes from the uneven movement of the aircraft as it flies through the air. You can't help but experience these small movements. If this was a real spacecraft, there would be absolutely no movement whatsoever. It would be extremely unexpected and unwelcome if it moved in orbit. There are not a whole bunch of jets on the outside of the International Space Station constantly readjusting its orbit. That's not how things in orbit work. You put them in orbit, you get the exact trajectory, and they stay on track. Now, if you have a look at these two guys, they're using these blue stabilization bars constantly in order to steady themselves. Have a look at those feet adjust back and forth, and he's using that blue stabilization bar to try and stay steady. Constantly back and forth movement. Now he starts to rotate slightly. His feet start to move to his right.
Wow. So Rick, earlier Katie was giving me
Right there, and he lifts up his left leg to try and counterbalance the rotation. As he moves away from there, he moves forward. And once again, he hangs on to the bar on the side with his left hand to stabilize himself. This should not be happening in space. Now, this is the same thing sped up. Have a look at the two spheres. One of them is rotating. Through the force of precession, it doesn't move as much. But look at the one on the left. It should be moving in a straight line. Instead, it has this strange curved trajectory. This is not outer space. This is a hoax. And if they're going to fake one thing in outer space, the whole thing is fake. If the International Space Station was really available, they wouldn't go through all this.